Greetings and salutations, internetizens. It is I, WotC, and here we are with another awesome video. This time for Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition character record sheets. Some people will cite that sometimes Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition used terminology that was off-putting, but there was also times when some of that terminology harkens back to really old editions or much older editions. Some people have been noted to complain about character record sheets where newer editions don't include the word record in them. But that is not the case. Older editions, this is Advanced 1st Edition, had the word record in there. As well as 2nd edition had the word record in there. So, screw you. But anyways, this is the handy dandy Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition / essentials character record sheets. This is a outer sleeve. The outer sleeve obviously comes off. And you get the artwork reversed. Ooh, you got 2 dragons now! Ha ha ha! But anyways, minimal artwork, minimal advertising logos and words on the folder itself, except for the D20 Insider, the D&D Insider logo, D20 system, and the Wizards logo, and a little bit of credit and copyright stuff, as well as the Dungeons & Dragons logo up here for 4th edition. They really should have used a different logo for the D20 system, or even put down D20 2.0 or D20 1.5 edition. That way it wasn't the same exact thing, because, you know, obviously Wizards of the Coast did a lot of screwed up things with Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, and mixing up terms and developing systems in which they just rolled over the terms for into a new system and then changed a lot of the mechanics inside that system. Screwed with a lot of people. If I personally, along with the OGGM, agree, check out his channel. He's awesome. He's a pretty sharp cookie. Me and him are in the agreement that if Wizards of the Coast literally came up with a different name for this game system, that it was not Dungeons and Dragons, it would have been more successful overall. Because a lot of the issues Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition had was truly just down to the fact that people said, oh, this is Dungeons & Dragons. They get it. It's different. Why is it called Dungeons & Dragons? But anyways, this is a level 1 to 30 system. I love that, by the way. You happen to have down here a chart for the experience levels from first level to 30th level. As you can see up here, you got sheets and you got these. I'll get into these in a moment. I'll take the sheets down first. There's no thing on the back here. It would be absolutely nice if they included tip reminders for game mechanics, like the basics for Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. That would have been absolutely awesome. I got a recycling logo on my shirt here, because I work for a recycling company. But anyways, you have these sheets, and what's really nice about the Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition system, it's an amazing system once you get over the weird side jaunt they did with it compared to Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, 1st, 2nd, so forth. But anyways, there's two types of sheets here. You have the vertical setup, which basically has all your basic stuff up here, your skills down here, all your mechanics up here. You got your race features, your feats, class, path, destiny features right here, languages known, etc. It is actually exceedingly well organized into such a fashion that it is actually quite easy for even a person who has dyslexia, mild dyslexia, to process, and ADHD. It's not overly complicated. On the back side, you have your little sections for your at-will powers, your encounter powers, your daily powers, utility powers, as well as magic items. Character section for you can draw your character, personality traits, manners and appearance, character background, companions and allies section, session and campaign notes. That is incredibly small for session and campaign notes. That's literally like, I was at the cave called the Deathly Hollows. It was last session. We saw bugbears inside. Kind of thing, you know. Coins and other wealth, other equipment, rituals. So this is, as you can see, it is actually rather cleanly organized. Might have been handy in the case of this to improve this, to like put a symbol by certain stuff. Say like your hit points, probably like a heart there. Near your actions might have been your attacks and stuff like that. Should have had like a sword or something. Skills would like be a book or something, or other. That's like the only thing you can really improve upon this. There's just two sheets of the same thing, and then there's actually another variant sheet that is horizontal, and this is actually just incredibly amazing. I love landscape horizontal character sheets. They're just awesome. They're everything gets spread out horizontally, and instead of being in a vertical format where everything is top down and you have to read all the way down the sheet, everything is stretched out horizontally, and it's easier to read that way. I do not know why. It's just possibly just due to the quirky nature of my brain or such, that horizontal sheets always come off as being easier to read. Everything is also organized on the backside, and in a funny way, I'll say this again, for whatever reason, when it comes to horizontal character sheets, they always seem to be better organized than vertical oriented sheets. However, they come by so rarely in TTRPGs in the official releases. I think Pathfinder has horizontal character sheets for their 2nd edition playtest, and those are awesome. I love horizontal sheets. But anyways, those are really nice. It would have been nice if there was a 3rd or 4th variant for these, but since the 2 versions they gave you knock it out of the park in organization and cleanliness, can't really argue with it that beyond that too much. It would be nice to have a 3rd variant, but you know, there you go. The fun thing about I'm gonna say Pathfinder by accident. But anyways, the other fun thing about Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition is you got cards. These are actually tarot cards. The backside actually illustrates the concept quite easily. You got at-will powers, encounter powers, and daily powers. And that is like on the nose as to how these work. At will is stuff you can do all the time, every time. You can just keep using it over and over and over again. You got encounter powers, which basically requires, if I remember the rules correctly, 10 minutes of downtime to recharge, and then you could use them again. You have one use, you take a 10-minute break, it recharges, and you could use it again. And then daily powers need a long rest. in Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, short rest was 10 minutes, and a long rest was 6 hours. And when you rested for a long rest, you recovered your health, and if you were to activate an action surge, you would recover 25% of your health, rounded down, if I remember correctly. But anyways, these cards are well organized yet again. You could write out your features onto these cards, tear them apart, and use them as such. There's actually multiple sets of these cards. But anyways, there's only 2 variants that are... I had to count these out to double check how many cards I have here in these piles. But anyways, you get like 4 sets of these in 2 variants. You have 4 sets in 2 variants. You have the at-will, encounter, and daily ones, and then you have this set, which is your magic item and utility power cards. Utility powers will take a lot more time than a round to use, but they are used outside of combat, or like healing abilities, or like spider climb, stuff like that. Fly, you can fly up in the air, and so forth. You can write all your stuff in here. The top box is obviously going to be the name. You got keyword box, whether you used it or not, action, various different symbols for the tie-in. You got at will, encounter, and daily boxes right here. You got range. You got your information box. You put all your information down there. Additional effects, from background, character, class, feature, feed, etc. Class, level, page. So you can reference, hey, what book was this from, and so forth. And you have a similar setup for these cards. Those are the magic cards. And those are the utility cards. I kind of like this. It's basically, hey, you got some cards. You write all your information out on these cards. And then you set up your cards on your table. I used my Sundering Strike. I just flip it over because it's used, or something like that. And then you okay, we get to the end of the combat, and well, here we go. Gonna take a 10-minute break, a smoke break, or a drink, and then continue into the next area, and then after recharging my our encounter powers. Yeah. Now, there might actually be some way to fix Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition by increasing the number of encounter daily powers that a player character can use. That way it's not use your daily power, then your encounter powers, and then your at-will powers for the rest of the battle, and then take your short rest, and then just use your encounter powers, then your daily, your encounter powers, then your at-wills, and so forth. And by the way, there is a default just attack, melee, or ranged option, but no one ever did that unless all your at-will powers actually inflicted a effect that was immune via the opponent's abilities, or actually set you up in a way that was not advantageous, which was not the case. It's hardly at all the time, other than like certain enemies, you know. Like you didn't want to get closer to a certain enemy, but all you have left is melee at-will powers, and you had to pull out your bow to take this a target out, or something like that. But anyways, that is the Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition character record sheets. This is actually quite nice to have overall. And if you're going to get into Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, I highly advise picking this up. This is like literally a 4.5 star right here, outright. I swear I made this video once before already and I've said that. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe, and see you next time.